All right, folks, we're recording a session of From My Desk, and we're going to talk specifically about topic testing methods because you need to understand how these platforms work and how these platforms are designed to test things and how you can use the same insight to test which topics generate leads and sales. So here are my subscriptions to the YouTubes here. and you can see all these videos are not all the videos that I'm subscribed to. In fact, there is content that I am not seeing here that I would see if I drilled down into a specific channel. But again, YouTube's purpose is not to show you everything you subscribe to, but to figure out which things of the content being created by the outside world are of interest to you, to put you in an audience group so that it can show you advertisements. So let me real quick, I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, and this is a background kind of behind the scenes, and we're going to use this in the From My Desk series. And we're going to talk honestly and transparently about what's really happening online for these platforms and why it's important for you to understand this so that you can create and keep profitable customers. So I've subscribed to a bunch of channels which are signals to the platform about my ideas and interests. Now, just like Twitter accounts have fake accounts, I have more than one YouTube account. In fact, I can switch between two accounts. One is a corporate account tied to my jwhco.org domain, and the other one is kind of a personal account. And both accounts I'm using for testing. So I am not trying to get an audience online. Sure, it would be nice because there's the fantasy that I buy into as much as the next person that the online marketing is going to build an audience and I'll be able to reach them cost effectively or blah, blah, blah. But the truth of the matter is if you know who your audience is, the platforms are collecting those audiences and you can simply just buy access to them. So if you've got one client and a little bit of income, you can start using that income to get in front of audiences. So what you see here is some comedy and some different types of funny shows and stuff. So entertainment sells more than anything else. And of course, the types of entertainment somebody's interested in can telegraph their topical interests. You see some tiny housing and some outdoor agrarian activities here. And so this is expressing what YouTube thinks I will be interested in, as well as telegraphing what it believes I should be interested in. Because again, the top news, the top stories are telegraphing the narrative message that is for the larger media cycle. What does that mean? Well, the current events done by CNN, ABC News, NBC News, Fox News, those are the channels that have proven to attract advertising dollars. So if I can be directed towards a mainstream topic, those topics have already been proven to be supported by commercial interests. I am more likely to trigger a cohort where a mainstream advertiser will come in. These platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of these social media platforms and television and radio is designed to sell advertising, and you will have more power as an advertiser rather than as a content creator. Now, the fantasy of content creation is being developed so that you will produce content, because what the IT crowds have figured out is that user-generated content can be monetized as easily as content created by networks, except it's cheaper because you did all the work as a content creator. So again, there's this fantasy put out there that platforms like Facebook are the new way of reaching customers. Now, if you're selling advertising services, you're going to play along, because it's the new way of reaching customers where the customer now has all the power and the customer can put out a review, or the customer can do this or the customer can do that. The bottom line is, if you know who your customer is, you can just send them an offer. You can send them a letter. You can target them online. You can set up media engagements. You don't just keep broadcasting content onto a platform, because the content broadcasted onto the platform is paying someone else's bills and has very little guarantee it's going to generate any value to you. So for a restaurant, for example, events are excellent. So you feature the food, you build the event, you invite people out to the event, you invite people off your house list as much as you're inviting people that you don't know that might be followers of yours. But Facebook becomes a list. All the followers on your platform are part of a list. If you know who your customers are, so you've taken your credit card transactions and sussed out email addresses or postal addresses, perhaps using a contest, you can do an audience match, and then you can reach people who look like the people who already came to your business. That is the most valuable thing. Now, this desire to be popular and to have an ego-driven so the platform is tweaking your ego, saying to you, you can get more customers if you only create the content that we want you to create and put it in front of these people. And we're going to reward you for content that attracts people that advertisers want to reach. And eventually you're going to get some traffic. So there's this organic thing in there that's really designed to set you up to either be a paid advertiser or a unpaid content producer. So by feeding your ego, you're creating content that builds the media channel's wallet. Well, what if you created your own media? And that is simply feeding your audience's ego so that they engage with your platform in a way that puts them on your list. So yeah, they could engage with a Facebook page, a YouTube page. They could be part of the back end on the Meta business site. And by the way, I'm on these platforms, but I could care less if anybody follows me there. I'm basically testing content, and that's the concept that we're going to teach you here. It's about putting out ads and content designed to generate a behavioral action more than a click. We want a name on a list because you're going to build your own platform, and then you're going to get to understand and interact with your specific buyers. See, here's behind the scenes on another channel of mine. This is talking about environmental content. I'm seeking to reach landowners, property owners, people who want to build a small farm, homestead, or an estate. The other podcast talks to copywriters and such. The key is I want them to raise their hand and demonstrate their interest so that we can tag them, flag them, and put them on a list. Now, once they're on a list, I can make specific offers. Now, I am creating content, and some of the content is short form, 1 to 2 minutes. Some of the content is mid form, 15 minutes or more, and some of the content is long form, like what we're doing right here. Every bit of this content is designed to qualify an audience viewer. So you're not going to watch this unless you're a marketer interested in growing your business. It's just the way it works. And so by watching this and staying a certain percentage of the time, and of course I'm trying to be interesting, I'm trying to remind you of the benefits of knowing how to reach and cultivate customers. But ultimately I want to show you behind the scenes, because if you understand how the system works, you can certainly work the system. Here's my tweet deck. My tweet deck, there's 3 accounts here. Now when they talk about Ad Briefings is an account, my regular account, and then Prosperity Homestead. When Elon Musk talks about the big scam of fake Twitter accounts, well, you and I know this is true because we own more accounts than we're actually using. There's actually 11 Twitter accounts that my company has been managing over the years, and some of them are idle and such. But again, it's the same concept. Show the audience many different choices, and then based on their interactions with those choices, tag the lead in a cohort. Now, cohort is a defined group of individuals, and then based on that group, the platform will broker content to the point it can determine a good match for advertising. See, everything on these platforms is setting you up for the advertisement. Now, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad because YouTube does it, and Facebook does it, and even Yahoo does it. And this is one of the advantages of being on the internet for so long. And this is one of the advantages of being in the marketing and direct response business for so long, is that even AOL did it, MySpace did it, and a lot of platforms that are gone did it. But what we have here now, I'm using a VPN right now because I can't normally reach Facebook and Twitter and all these platforms. I'm actually on a VPN. So this thinks I'm from a Hispanic audience. And do you see how all the language is in Spanish? Now, this is the same Chrome I have, and Chrome is tracking and stuff too. Tracking's amazing. I'm fascinated by it. I'm amazed by it. There's some privacy issues that we work with on the risk management side. But ultimately, the role of the sites you interact with is to identify who you are, what you want. Okay, your ego. What do you want? Well, if you want to grow a business, you're going to get pitched to use these platforms and create content, and you're going to grow a business. But if you want to do something else. Some of this says, now I can read a little bit of Spanish. So some of this is talking about divorces, obviously gas prices. They're using a combination of imagery and in writing prompts in order to get your attention. As you scroll down the page, you'll start seeing some advertisements in here. The best way to reach customers, and I'll tell you again and again and again, because I can prove it in the numbers, is to know exactly how much you can spend to get a customer, and then identify who that customer is, and then put ads in front of them. Put one ad after another. Now, I create a lot of content because I'm a publisher and I own my own media. And that's why I create the content, because I have media and lists that are in-house based on individuals that raise their hand to ask questions. So you'll see in most everything I do, I'll have the ability for you to ask questions. When you ask questions, I'm going to do everything to put you in our CRM system. Okay, I'm being completely transparent because it's very important you understand how this works. Otherwise, you will not be able to use it effectively to grow your business. So we don't want to fall into the ego trap of believing that we are going to do something for free on a platform that costs millions and millions of dollars to manage and get any monetary result. These platforms want you to stay in the platform. So a native video is going to get better promotion on a channel than a video where you're linking to your YouTube channel. But every time somebody clicks or goes between these platforms, they're getting cookied in each platform. So the best choice is to get as many people to click and then send an advertisement. Okay, so it's not about getting them to watch your video. I have some videos that have 40, 50,000 people who view, but they don't fit the cohort that I want to reach. But I know that because I created the video and I can see the analytics on the back end. We're not going to really go into analytics, but you can see, again, it thinks I'm Spanish and that I use the Hispanic language. And so it's showing me everything in Spanish. But am I Spanish? No, I'm not. I'm not Spanish. I don't speak Espanol. I can barely read it. So another factor here is that these platforms are not accurate. Okay, so while they are a little bit creepy because they're able to track you and they're able to tell who you are, and so for example here on Buffer, I can post out different posts and then I can see the engagement on the posts, but I can't see the details of who these people are who engage, if they engage at all, because what I'm doing is I'm putting out a large number of broad topics that are of general interest to the audience. And then I'm only measuring on the Google Analytics side and on my leads generated and on my Shopify, which is where the products are sold. And after that, if somebody's hiring me for a consultation, I also have that in my accounting system as a measurement. But again, I'm not as concerned about having a large amount of engagement on a particular platform because I have many different platforms that reach 2 or 3 people here and 2 or 3 people there, 3 or 4 people there. All together, it works out to be thousands of individuals. Here's another example. My Spreaker, I use Spreaker as my podcast platform. I have 131 hours worth of podcasts out here. And by the way, there's probably another 100 and some hours of podcasts that were on the previous platform I used. People tend to want what's new. So I will take everything down and then I'll publish it again later because people don't know the difference between something I published 10 years ago and now. Actually, I have improved in my speaking skills and my ability to keep you engaged. But ultimately, do you see where I'm coming from here? The platforms are going to play your ego so that you create content with the hopes that you're going to get some kind of reward. The hope is more valuable than anything else. If you create content that delivers to a specific audience the hope of their benefit and gain, and then bridge that hope with a click or a request for more information that generates a lead on your list, now you have an understanding of who is behaviorally modified or are able to adapt behavior based on what you have to say. And then you can create more of what generates leads. Now, when you have those leads on your list, you want to work with these individuals by giving them something of value that they can use right away because you know who they are. And that is, in my case, where you ask a question and I respond with a legitimate answer. My goal is to deliver to you as much value as possible in a 10 or 15-minute window, record it, and then distribute the recording through all my other media so that you and other people can see the value I deliver. But if you are asked a question, you'll notice the content is different. So this content can go to a general audience, and I'm going to offer you at the end a paid consultation. I'll tell you how to get a paid consultation if you want. But if I answer your question specifically, I'm going to put a cover letter on the response, and I'm going to show you the exact link to go to because I know who you are, and I'm going to show you the exact link to go to so you can take the next step to get engaged if what I've provided is not sufficient, or if what I provided is sufficient, but you really do need help because you're serious, you're going to take action. So again, we're going to bridge the audience's interests and desires, build a vast amount of content, of which I would prefer you building special reports that are like real books or real documentaries or real training programs. And then we're going to wrap around these things the lead generation, the inbound, in order to tag people as being a part of an audience, and then you're going to come back and make actual offers to folks. So a lot of my podcast content is about setting up an idea, describing the benefits of the idea and how taking action will solve the problem. And so I know from we'll get back over here to my pitiful statistics on the Spreaker platform here, but the 545 visitors in the last 30 days to download it, that's representational. Okay. Has there been, because you've heard me say in the past that thousands of people listen to the program. Well, yeah, sure. But in the last 30 days, which programs have they been more interested in? So folks have been more interested in my environmental related content. That's the Prosperity Homestead. And they have not been interested in Inside Strategic Relations and Sustainable Wealth Secrets. Now, again, because I'm going direct to buyers, I don't really care. These are bonuses. But it does tell me that the general public doesn't care about insights to get you influence. They don't care about turning income into wealth. Those are things they should care about. But then again, if they're struggling day to day to feed themselves, or they're looking for a business opportunity, or they're having challenges in what it is that they do, then they're more likely to want to, from Prosperity Homestead's sake, have food and financial security, and from ad briefing copywriting tips' sake, be able to basically use a skill to generate income and opportunity. Can you see what we're doing here? So if I were to drill down into the last 30 days, it's going to give me the headlines for content topics, as well as the published date. Doing some simple math here, I can tell what the velocity of certain content topics is. Now, there's a spreadsheet elsewhere, so we can export it as a CSV. We can code these. We do a little data match. We can code these to know what products. That's my catalog code. And then I can say which product has the highest amount of velocity, and this is seasonally, changes seasonally, and of that content, what is the audience? And then I go put an ad out in front of that audience where they can buy a product or service. So they can buy a $197 training program that sets them up for a $12,000 project. They can come in and they can get a book that I recommend from somebody else. Maybe somebody's got a home study course. My net on the product is $500. I'm going to offer that instead of building a product. But as you can see, these topics, some topics from 2021 have value. So a topic that has longevity is an evergreen topic that I can build on. And so in this case, it says, approach your land design. And it shows 9 visitors even today, even though it was published a long time ago. And so what kind of product or service can I offer? Or what kind of client can I engage with to reach this audience who has this specific interest in land design? Now, is that landscaping? Or is that land designed for increased agricultural outputs? Is that, it just all depends. So each of these topics actually have context in a little database to give me a little bit more about what this really is, so that I can take the topics that have repeat value and I can add to I can bundle them up and then offer them directly to people using ad campaigns. Now, when I use an ad campaign, I'm generating leads and then I'm pointing them to this bundle of content that's spread out all over the place, but I'm pointing to this bundle. And now I can follow up with them to say, hey, look, if you're interested in how to design your land to get maximum value and so that you can be more productive on that land, and look at this, 2019, healthy meals without worry, so you can have food security, then check out these videos. And we're holding a webinar to talk about how to get started. Can you see how this works, folks? So again, I'm using the model where each of these newsletters represent a channel in which I write copywriting for, and I create special reports, and then I do consulting and advice. And so you're going to do the same thing. But again, the content you create, there should be no hope, no fantasy or belief that it is going to magically get you customers. So I have 86 episodes on Apple Podcast and 5 other platforms. And there's no hope or desire or thought that somebody's going to listen to one podcast and then contact my website and then want to give me money. It just doesn't work that way. What they are going to do, though, is listen to a few podcasts, go to the website. And so in this case, Sustainable Wealth Secrets. And I'm just going to show you, we already know there's not a lot of traffic on this, but if they go to Sustainable Wealth Secrets and they go to the contact page and then they ask a question, I get their email, their name, and their question. And now I spend specific time answering their question in a valuable way that sets up the offer. There always must be an offer. There always must be a deadline. So what we're doing is we're using YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, all these platforms as broadcast platforms. But because we're adding the topic testing, we now know what topics have the most interest and value at getting somebody from another platform, somebody else's media, onto my media, which is my websites or my mailing list, and helps them get closer to a solution. Now you can even see over here on the side, there's an opt-in. Let's say they just found my website through the magic and glory of good old Google algorithms, and they get here and they want to stop struggling to increase their net worth as a high income professional. They want to start turning more of their income into net worth. Then perhaps they'll fill out this little opt-in here, and they're going to get a couple email messages that are going to set up the opportunity to hire me as a consultant. Now, 2 very valuable things that you need if you are a copywriter or a marketer, such as offering these services, is you need a way for them to opt in with a question. You need a paid consultation, so you could talk with them for free and answer their questions and do a discovery call. But it's a lot better if they just give you money first, because hopefully you're busy with other clients. And if you're not, then you haven't presented enough value on the website itself to set up that paid consultation. Now, on my newsletter sites, they got to go through a lot of hoops before they're going to get an offer to pay me something, because I want the barrier to entry to be extremely low. I want them to say, well, I want to start building my net worth today with proven insights. And then they fill out the form, and now they're on my email list. And then on my email follow-up, I can offer them an actual opportunity to hire me for something specific. Okay, now I know it's dangerous to show you behind the scenes, but you've got to understand that these platforms are for their profit. And if you have enough people, which they have billions of people, millions of people, they can make money from your content faster than you can make money from your content. So content marketing is kind of a scam, but it's something you have to understand how it works so that you can use content to generate leads, and you can use content to set up customer relationships. So here's an example. This is what I do. I'm a no holds barred direct. I give them a direct approach to business objectives. If you got specific business objectives, I can shorten the path to you achieve them, and I'm establishing my credibility. And look how young and handsome I am. I'm establishing my credibility because I actually went to Washington, D.C. to advocate for some businesses, and there's the Capitol in the background. And so at another time and place, there was a whole story behind that. If your project's a match, Justin will give you his dedicated attention. So you can learn more about me at this website. This is justinhitt.com right here. But my point being is they can ask a question about a consultation, and then I will engage them for a paid consultation. Now, I'm not necessarily going to engage them. There's an autoresponder series that I've developed over the years, and you can do the same. But here's what's important. I outline clearly who my customer is, and then based on this, I try to build content to test in these different channels to see what I can find. So for example, there isn't a $1 million business owner hanging around on Facebook, but they are hanging around on LinkedIn. Okay. If they're hanging around on Facebook, they're following their favorite bass fishermen, their favorite, TNA site or whatever it is that they're following on Facebook. They tend to be there for entertainment purposes, but on LinkedIn, their mindset is for action. It is for solving problems. So I might post the same content across multiple platforms using something such as Buffer, but I find from doing that the more valuable individual is coming from LinkedIn. So I get them on my list. Now, when I want to present an advertisement, what channel do I choose? Do I just put it on every channel? No, I go to LinkedIn and I put an ad on LinkedIn matching an audience that has visited my website. Now, I can show you in another video. There's a whole bunch of technical stuff behind here. I've got webmasters to help you with that if that's what you're interested in. There's a lot of automation. But essentially, if you visit any of my websites, you will be cookied, you will be tracked, you will be matched in a cohort, and I'm doing it with the most valuable and expensive platforms in the universe, YouTube, Facebook, and such. That's why I access my own websites using I basically block everything inside the office and only access the sites, those channels with a VPN, because I don't want to cookie myself. See, I'm not selling to me. I'm selling to clients. And in fact, clients, here it is. Clients range from $1 million small businesses to Fortune 100 enterprises. If you want to boost your profits and cultivate beneficial relationships, you're in the right place. And see, I even did a little editing there because the word then doesn't really need to be there. That's the biggest problem with copywriters and their own work. But I'm setting up a lot of hoops before you get to this page that says, hey, look, if this is you, I will be more than happy to work with you. Contact me about a consultation. Now, if someone contacts me and I do a little homework and I realize they own a $1 million company or a $100 million company that I have served in the past, like they're a past client, then I will just do a consultation. I won't charge them for a consultation because they're pre-qualified. Here's a big list of some of the people I've done business with. Now, client confidentiality is assured, so I'm not going to go brag about the people I'm doing business with, but ultimately they get discretion and conversation even if they didn't pay for a consultation because I've pre-qualified them. But if they're not pre-qualified, they're going to go on the calendar somewhere. They're going to send me $397, and then I'm going to invest time before we meet, when we meet, and after we meet to make sure that if I'm a match, I'm putting them in the right direction towards a valuable and profitable solution. But again, a consultation is not a sales call. Now, why do I tell you all this stuff? Well, first off, if you think the platforms are where you're going to get the next customer, they're going to watch a YouTube video and then boom, they're a customer, you've skipped a bunch of steps. Now, YouTube wants you to believe that because they want you to keep creating content. And you can see some of this content has like no views on it, but some of it has a lot of views. So what does that tell me? Well, because I'm conducting marketing tests rather than creating content, it tells me that some content is more valuable in YouTube's desire to share it and its performance with individual visitors. So this one piece of content here, your grass-fed garden, is basically way more interesting than anything else on this platform organically. This one particular benefited from getting shared on Reddit. But again, when I did the homework and realized it was being shared on Reddit and it was being shared to homesteaders and gardeners, it has no value for a land management project. No, these people are not going to pay $20,000 because they're doing a large ecological project such as a farm or a reserve or something that might need permaculture design. Now, maybe 1 in 1,000 might be interested, but again, I have tagged them on a list. 34,000 views. They're on a list. I can send an ad to that list if I want to test the idea. And how do you test the idea? We test it with a consultation. You test it with a webinar. You test it with some kind of event. And then when those people sign up for the event, you deliver a platform presentation. Now, I don't have anything to offer these folks right now. The view count was beautiful, but I wasn't able to repeat the grass-fed garden concept on longer videos to get similar results. As you can see, the permaculture chop and drop organically only got 6,844 views. I kind of need to, there's another winter grass fed organically only got 2,400. While these are popular topics, they aren't engaging topics where a buyer is going to engage and ask questions. I've gotten questions on other things such as how do we get more, so I bought a piece of land. How do we get ready to go hunting on the land? How do we get it so it's safe to traverse? So I did a few videos on that, answered the question, engaged with a few clients, and then it didn't turn out to be a large project, but it came out to be something of interest. I had to ask the question, is it scalable? And frankly, I do consulting for big Fortune 100 businesses. I have a niche there that is way more profitable that I would much rather focus my efforts and stuff there. So actually, my area of specialty is risk management and business development. These other channels are how I test and demonstrate concepts so that you can get the results that you're looking for. So let's talk about some more strategy, some more ways of taking the list of prospects that you have and multiplying them so that you can create a better result in your business. So when we talk about risk management in general, you don't want to spend money and not get something back. So a lot of folks are doing the content marketing and doing a lot of the projecting through free channels because they're afraid you're afraid to spend any money. But if you know how much a customer costs, even the customers that you've got today, then you can set aside some money to build a budget up to start generating leads and testing ideas. You can test ideas with content. In fact, I just tested earlier today. I have a 30-minute video on a YouTube channel. I sent out a 2-minute video to drive people to the YouTube channel. I'm cooking people on Facebook, Twitter, and other places under that topic. And then when they get over to YouTube, I'm building that audience on YouTube so that I can have better audience matches. You want to have like 20 or 30,000 people to have a really good audience match. And by the way, if you have an offer that you know works with a certain audience, you just rent a mailing list. I don't know how much easier it can be. You get 5,000 names. You split it into 4 cells. You A/B split the first 2 with your campaign, and then you start drilling down until you have an ad that works on a list that works, and then you multiply it from there. You take the customers from your original campaign. You start doing audience matches in these different platforms, and then you will have sales. You might be $8,000 to $10,000 in before you break even. But you will have sales if you have an offer you know works. And that's the magic. That's like, I'm wrapping 34 minutes of content around get a damn mailing list, build a mailing list, and start sending offers. Now, again, what do you send an offer for? Well, I've sent postcards out that pointed out that basically, so the postcard goes out, and when they click on the link, I know they clicked on a link, so it cookies them in the list, and I can use that Reddit name more than once. And then they go to the video, and then I know of those who go to the video who watched 60% or more of the video. Because I'm not that exciting of a guy sometimes. Sometimes I'm, a little tangential in the approach or a little roundabout in the way. I know I ask you questions to engage. I hope you understand what I'm sharing with you here. But there's a wide spectrum of who gets to see a free video. And so many of you may have not a clue what the hell's going on here. And you might be saying you don't have enough money to buy a mailing list. You don't have enough money to build a mailing list, I guess. You don't have enough money to send a postcard or to rent a email list. You don't rent the email list directly, but you rent access to the list. You give them your email and they mail it out. Or you don't have an offer. Like, how can you be a marketer without an offer? I already shared with you the offer you have is a paid consultation. Now, what do you wrap up in that paid consultation so it's worth going to if somebody doesn't know who you are? Well, you give them special reports. You give them, content. I take a bunch of videos that are longer form videos that are on the topic of their consultation. I put it on a DVD. I handwrite on the front of the DVD what it is, and I send it out in advance of our meeting. And then the first thing I can do when I got on a call is I can say, hey, I was able to send you out some information based on your initial topic, because there's an assessment to do the consultation. Based on your initial, did you have a chance to view those? Okay, well, that's fine if you didn't have a chance to view it. Now, if they say I had a chance to view it and I'm so excited and here are my 5 questions, that's a better candidate than somebody who didn't. But if they didn't, it's okay, because now I'm here to focus my time and attention on answering their question. Oh, by the way, the consultation is recorded. Are you okay if you're satisfied with this consultation and I delivered something of value? Are you okay that if we edit out some details but make this available for people who might also be interested in this topic? And most of the time people will say yes, but again, the confidentiality thing is there, so sometimes they don't want me to share their content, but I can extract from it key ideas and concepts and just do a new recording. And then the old recording just goes in a file somewhere, and 5 or 10 years later, it might show up online because usually after we have a relationship with the client, they want to hear the archival materials. And it's a real huge value. But the content that goes online is not to position myself, not to brand me, not to get engagement. It is to set up the lead. It is so somebody is saying, damn, I'd like to get more information on how to use and manipulate these very expensive platforms in order to get more customers. Wow, it turns out that if we use the platforms to geotag and code and flag and cookie these individuals, that we can use our existing customers or our existing leads in order to do an audience match, and then I can put an ad right in front of the right people that I want to reach. Holy crap. It turns out that if I send content, small content, I can start understanding what content is valuable and interesting to the customer so that my ad will be more relevant and meaningful to those customers. And holy smoke, look at that. I can rent a postal mailing list, and I can send a postcard, a letter, or even some fancy multimedia thing through the mail to somebody, and they will say yes to what it is I have to offer. Now, what's so exciting about all this is if you use each of these things. So if you target audience online, so for example, you can send a postcard through some services that will also cookie the people and allow you to follow them around with an audience match. So the ad is on the postcard, the ad is on the follow-up campaign, whether it's Google pay-per-click or Facebook pay-per-click, it doesn't really matter. And then finally, the behavioral response to both of those different channels is all tracked in one place so that you can then follow with pay-per-click campaigns. So it's a multi-channel campaign. So again, you might send a letter, you might send a postcard, you might tag them online and follow them around the internet with some kind of space advertisement. You might invite them to a webinar or an event and engage them in a long form. You might engage them in the short form. All of this is necessary to get the results you're looking for. If you believe you can just record a video and put it up on the interwebs and the magic of Google algorithms is going to come, and if you search engine optimize it the right way, holy smokes, everybody's going to come flooding into what you're doing. And the truth of it is, if you're entertaining, yes. If you're sensational, yes. If you show some boobs, maybe. But if you're a normal business owner, and you have a normal type of business, you're going to be better to make an offer, to hold an event, to invite people to come and attend and experience, to give away free gifts, to give away, not gifts as in pictures, but give away free services so they can get on your list, to build your own media, and to, from that media, start driving the outcomes that you're looking for. So I'm going to real quick flip through here. I think I've covered all my tags. You know, I've been on the internet since 1980s. I'm old. I'm getting old, folks. I'm crazy and old. Okay, so here we go. Good thing I still got most of all my hair. Okay, so Justin Hit podcast. This is how easy it is to find me. I'll tell people, hey, if you want to ask a question, simply contact me. And some people will say, well, what's your phone number? I like, if you can't find my phone number when I've been on the internet for more than 20 years, then I don't really want you as a customer. Watch this. Justin Hit phone number on the interwebs. Okay, it's going to have all this background stuff. Look at that. Look at that. All that distraction. But this one says all the contact information you need for Justin Hit. Isn't that magic? Isn't that magic? So you can come here and ask questions. justinhit.com/contact. Ask your questions. Now, if you got something more in depth that you want to send over, there's a fax number. Look at that. You can fax me at my office. My fax machine actually works, and it's like magic. And then, of course, if you have any concerns, holy smoke, look at that. That's how you sign up for a 15-minute paid consultation. And as I've described here, if you don't have any other thing to offer, you can at least offer a paid consultation. Now, if you want to offer to more than a few people, there's a I don't know if this I don't know if I'm sharing a secret that I shouldn't be sharing, but see this little link here? You can actually schedule to attend a group Q&A call that only costs you $2. $2. And what that $2 does is it makes sure that I get like 2 or 3 people on a call that are sincerely interested in building their business, about growing their customer list, about generating profits and building an actual real business. Nobody ever contacts me for a group Q&A that would waste $2 to talk to this old guy, and then I'll spend 30 minutes, sometimes more, on the call, making sure that everybody gets their questions answered. And because it's of this magic technology here, they go right on my calendar. Now, if there's an event where you get signed up on here, and I'm not even going to tell you where this link was, because I want people who can read and actually know. But again, you can, if I tell you, hey, go ahead and schedule a call, there is a link here for you just to schedule 15 minutes. If you are if you're just doing a transactional call, this is how you get on my calendar, and actually I dedicate the time. But if you're doing a paid consultation, that's also how you get on the calendar for 15 minutes, except I'm going to ask you to complete an assessment in advance. So let me make sure I covered everything on my little card here and everything on the back here. It is a massive distraction to your success if you believe that content alone will get you customers. But content can be used to generate leads, and the kind of content that generates leads is of interest to your buyers. It telegraphs the benefits that you offer and highlights the ego of your buyer. In fact, this little chart right here tells me that the more you focus on customers and the more you focus on their ego and interests, the more likely they're going to not see who you are, which is okay. But when you present that you have a solution for them, they're more likely to request additional information. So in the case of transforming your income into wealth, that's only going to have people that know they have a decent income. It's not going to get anybody else. Now, if I'm looking at 10% of the population, that means 1 in 10 people in the general population are in my audience and the rest of them aren't. So it's definitely not going to have a lot of traction, and I shouldn't be under the impression that it should. I'm also using imagery to telegraph what kind of person I'm looking for, and it's probably going to be somebody who's living pretty good already, who then wants to build sustainable wealth, and they do that by joining that particular channel. Okay, so that's the media channel I have for those who want sustainable wealth. But those who just want a better home and a better managed home, and they have a piece of property and maybe they want a garden and other things, they're going to go to Prosperity Homestead, which is more of value to them, and it meets them where they are. So when people fill out a form to learn how they can boost equity in their home or increased home value, or they want to learn more about this shocking discovery, this is where I'm attempting to be a little entertaining right there. Or they become a newsletter subscriber. See, I'm not trying to get a consultation here. I'm trying to get a paid newsletter subscriber for $97 a year to then further qualify. So again, you're going to earn with the customer's consumption of your content only to a point. You're not going to have the skills to monetize people's attention as well as YouTube will, as well as Facebook or Meta, or as well as LinkedIn. They have the scale to do it, but you can benefit from their targeting, their cohorts, and their advertising platforms. And if you have an offer, so in my case, I could offer people interested in building their small farm, homestead, or estate, I could offer them a free digital subscription to the content on this website if they'll follow the link and enter the coupon code. So you can see this particular one is $97. I can say, look, if you put the little coupon code down here, you have a coupon, then you will get it for $1 for free. Now, I've gotten such good conversion tracking set up here that I like to get $1. I like to get $2 because it makes the Google Analytics look nicer when you have a dollar amount next to the lead source or the inputs, because it's really testing, it's really measuring. And finally, understand that these platforms are going to broadcast garbage in front of you because there's no human involved, just like most of Twitter accounts are robots. And you can use tools to broadcast that stuff out there, but they're measuring at a scale far beyond what we can do individually. So what we're really looking for is letting them match somebody to an audience and then putting an ad in front of that audience and then doing the direct response bit of generating a lead, making an offer, and checking our conversion rates. This has been Justin Hitt from Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, and this is kind of a from the desk bit here. I've got content all over the place here. That's what I've been doing most of the day. More stuff here from videos, and I really want to show you behind the scenes. Why am I broadcasting so much stuff? What's the secret? Well, the secret is, again, I'm building audiences in other people's platforms, so ultimately I can flip them out of that platform into my own media. And then once they're in my own media, I can make offers of paid consultations, coaching services, actual projects. And this is exactly how you can do it the same way. This is exactly how you can create value and exactly how you can build a house list. And once you understand who the buyers are from the house list, you can simply buy access to them in different mediums because you'll know how much it costs to add a buyer to your list. And as long as you're spending less than that, and it's profitable, then you can just keep doing it. It scales. It's magic. It's magic. Again, if you have questions, you can visit me at justinhitt.com. The justinhitt.com website has my handsome beardless face there back when I was a little kid. And you can, I've been doing this for more than 20 years. You can go to that website and ask your questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. I want to thank you for taking the time. I know your time is very valuable. I want to thank you for taking the time to being a part of our show today. And I hope I've been able to answer a number of the questions that have been coming in about what's really going on behind the scenes, because you guys are tired of getting Google slapped. You're tired of getting shadow banned. You're tired of getting ignored. The truth of it is, if you don't have it set up correctly, building their audience and then paying for access, then you're missing the point that YouTube has no obligation to you at all. YouTube doesn't care. They're so big, they know how to monetize the attention and the desires of their audience. And now you know how to as well. And you're going to monetize it by delivering valuable services as we use these platforms to funnel people to our own medium and our own contact lists. I'd say thanks for watching, but I'm at the end of the video and I'm appreciative of your time. I love to hear your questions and success stories. And until next time, I'm Justin Hitt, and this has been From My Desk.